He said he didn't take his shorts off when he was getting a massage.
Please, Mohammed.
Why is this uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do with the debate.
He didn't take his shorts off, but he's got his pants down now, hasn't he?
I have felt a genuine moral quandary.
Yeah, moral quandary. I don't know. What's a proportional response? Does Israel have a right to defend itself?
Do you condemn Dershowitz?
For what?
For defending Epstein.
I have defended,
and being proud of defending Epstein.
Some
you
of the
defend him?
best.
It's not for me to defend
him for that.
I have felt a genuine moral quandary.
Yeah, moral quandary. I don't know. What's a proportional response? Does Israel have a right to defend itself?
What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
I have felt a genuine moral quandary. Well, why debate then?
Because I don't mind debating monsters.
I don't really know why you like to defend these high-profile clients. Do you regret it at all? And did you ever see anything untoward about Mr. Epstein?
Alan Dershowitz is a criminal defense attorney who has spent much of his life teaching at Harvard in between representing the most controversial figures he could find. He began his career defending 3 far-right terrorists accused of planting a bomb in the Manhattan office of Imprizio Saul Hurok, successfully getting them off before helping to get another certified good guy off the hook a couple years later. For those of you listening right now, I can't see the screen, it's O.J. Simpson. He was O.J. Simpson's lawyer in 1995, and would go on to provide his services for Mike Tyson during his rape case, Donald Trump during his first impeachment, where he argued it's not illegal for Trump to bribe the Ukrainian president, and was also Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, despite insisting on the view what a big supporter of the Me Too movement he was. In his 6 decades of being a public figure, Dershowitz has also argued in favor of torture during the Iraq War, wrote about lowering the legal age of consent to 16, went to extreme lengths to deny tenure for pro-Palestinian professor Norm Finkelstein after a heated debate the two of them had on Israel, and is actually set to defend the state of Israel against allegations of war crimes at the International Court of Justice sometime in the near future. And of course, he was also the lawyer of Jeffrey Epstein, of whom he considered at one point to be a good friend. In fact, when asked if he'd still be close to Epstein in the event the financier could no longer afford legal counsel in 2003, Dershowitz replied, "Absolutely. I would be as interested in him as a friend if we had hamburgers on the boardwalk in Coney Island and talked about his ideas." What ideas? When he was writing his book, he told Vicky Ward that the only person he'd send drafts to outside of his immediate family was Jeffrey Epstein. Ward also notes that Dershowitz was thrilled to meet none other than Prince Andrew at Epstein's Manhattan residence one time, even letting the prince hang out in the back of his lectures.
I'm thrilled that all these papers have come out. I urged them. I went to court. I asked for everything to come out because I knew that I had done nothing wrong and the papers would exculpate me. I want to make sure every single document comes out. The public has the right to see everything.
Virginia Giuffre first accused Alan Dershowitz of sexual abuse in a 2014 sworn affidavit, claiming under oath that she was forced to have sex with the professor on at least 6 separate occasions, even appearing to get physically sick as she tried to describe the alleged encounters to attorneys. The first time she ever met the Harvard professor, Virginia said on the record, was at the office of Epstein's Manhattan home, which we know from the Vanity Fair article Dershowitz was known to visit. While she stresses it's hard for her to remember things chronologically, she says she is able to recall the most recent time she had sex with Dershowitz, which allegedly happened on an airplane in Massachusetts, as well as the first time in Epstein's bedroom minutes after the financier had left the room. Dershowitz walked in, and Virginia claims they had sex on a red velvet chair. Afterwards, Epstein asked Virginia if he enjoyed it, to which she told him yes. She also claimed that Dershowitz participated in sexual activity in a black limousine involving herself, Epstein, Dershowitz, and another young girl on the way to Dershowitz's house. Virginia also emphasized just how aware Dershowitz was of all the other young girls constantly around Epstein, stating in her affidavit, Dershowitz was so comfortable with the sex that was going on that on one occasion he observed me in sexual activity with Epstein. Virginia also alleged she witnessed Dershowitz having sex with another one of Epstein's young victims at one point, a blonde girl who she assumed to be underage. Dershowitz has since lashed out hard against Virginia, who he's referred to as a borderline pathological liar out to destroy his career in pursuit pursuit of money. What happened next was a complicated years-long series of lawsuits in which Virginia went after Dershowitz for defamation, causing Dershowitz to countersue, eventually concluding with a settlement in 2022. After this settlement, Virginia told reporters that she, quote, may have made a mistake in accusing Dershowitz of abusing her. This has now given Dershowitz the green light to openly parade his supposed innocence in a barrage of media appearances, telling everyone who will listen about how wrongfully victimized he was by an attention-seeking liar, and that this is what finally exonerates him. But that's not exactly a fair characterization of the settlement, according to Virginia. As Dershowitz was taking his public victory lap, Virginia told the Daily Beast in an exclusive statement, "I was shocked to read that Alan Dershowitz is claiming that our mutual dismissal of our lawsuits against each other somehow exonerated him. The litigation was very stressful and damaging to my family and to my health. We have endured years in which Mr. Dershowitz asserted my charges against him were a lie, made up out of whole cloth, perjury, and part of a purported extortion plot. He has now admitted there was no perjury, no extortion plot, and rather than making up what I said, I honestly believe the charges I made against him. Whether or not Mr. Dershowitz's admissions undermine his previous denials of the charges made against him is for others to say. The settlement agreement limits what I can say, and I will abide by it unless and until I am released from it. However, those admissions are not consistent with exoneration."
I can tell you she is still a prostitute. She is selling false stories now for money about me.
Do you have any concern calling her a prostitute when she was victimized at such a young age by this wealthy man?
She was not victimized. She made her own decisions in life.
But at the age of 15, some would say that's a little young and that she was taken advantage of.
I'm talking about the age of 19. Look, that's between her and the federal government and the people that she claims victimized her.
For what it's worth, I think it should also be said that Virginia had in fact told several people about Dershowitz being involved with Epstein's operation years before her affidavit. And for Dershowitz's part, it would seem he was totally fine with a friend of his making a quote-unquote joke about Epstein housing young girls in 2014. Virginia also reiterated to the Daily Beast that Mr. Dershowitz sued Mr. Boyce, her lawyer, for charging Mr. Dershowitz with participating in Epstein's sex trafficking and other misconduct. Mr. Boyce did not retract any of those charges, but Mr. Dershowitz nevertheless dismissed his claims against Mr. Boyce. That too hardly seems like exoneration. And if that's not enough, another Epstein victim, Sarah Ransom, also accused Dershowitz of having sex with her while she was being trafficked by Epstein. To this day, Ransom has never retracted her allegations against Dershowitz.
All the feminist groups and the radicals who think this is the worst thing in the world, that anybody ever had any contact with Jeffrey Epstein, where are all those radical feminists when it comes to the Hamas rapes of young Jewish girls, sexual abuse, beheadings? They are quiet. They are silent. The incredible hypocrisy of the Me Too movement. Me Too, except if you're a Jew.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that wherever we see suffering, wherever we see sexual assault, we see Dershowitz to the rescue. The former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, a man himself accused
I
of
knew
rape.
we would get to that. I
didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me.
I have felt a genuine moral quandary.
He claimed that he was proud to help him. He has also helped the likes of Harvey Weinstein as well. You know, the movie producer that used to do funky stuff. And quite lately, he's given his positive views that, you know, P. Diddy should be out on bail. Supporting P. Diddy, it definitely is in line with his brand. Epstein himself boasted to the people around him that he was Mossad. The 10th Prime Minister of Israel met with him 36 times, who was also the head of military intelligence and the right-hand woman of his, Ghislaine Maxwell. Her father was Mossad as well.
I have felt a genuine moral quandary.
But we're not seeing the same level of coverage with Hamas as we are seeing with these people that are shoving rods off people's ass and raping people on videographic evidence. And you have 3,000 people, you talk about the hostages, you've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity who are prisoners of war of Israel, and we're spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages.
I have felt a genuine moral quandary.
He was in Epstein's vicinity. He had a massage in his vicinity. This is the kind of person that we're having on the show defending Israel.
No one can understand it when you
Have you met him before?
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you do.
He's one of America's top lawyers.
He's top lawyers.
Yeah, he is.
And you're an unbiased person here on Central.
An unbiased person about Alan Dershowitz. Why?
Does he have leverage on you, Piers Morgan?
There's no leverage on me, no.
You've got a picture with Maxwell.
Yes, with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Did you go to the island?
No, I've never been to the island. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
Be honest.
I never spent more than 5 minutes with
Be
Ghislaine
honest.
Maxwell. I've answered you. So what part of that wants to...
Do you condemn him being on the island? He's your good friend.
You can ask
No, I'm asking, do you condemn him?
about Jeffrey Epstein.
You had a massage.
He represented him.
He said he didn't take his shorts off.
Do you know what?
That's
None
what
of this
he
has got
said.
anything to do with Israel.
He said he didn't take his shorts off when he was getting a
Can you
massage.
please, Mohammed.
Why is this uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do with the debate.
He didn't take his shorts off, but he's got his pants down now, hasn't he?
Can you stop it?
Why?
What's the point?
Why?
I felt a genuine moral quandary.
Iran was attacked on April the 1st, right? It was attacked, the embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a moral quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan.
I felt a genuine moral quandary.
What's a proportionate response for Iran?
I'll tell you what I think about Iran. I think Iran is an unbelievably nefarious place which has been fueling Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah for many years with a joint
Does it have a right to defend itself?
joint ideology that they want to eradicate Israel in any way they can.
Okay. Does it have
so
a right to
I
defend
think
itself?
Iran is one of the most despicable
Does it have a right to defend
regimes
itself?
in the world. I also think that right now the Iranian regime is in serious danger.
You look completely discombobulated.
What do you mean?
You look dishevelled.
I'm telling you what I think of Iran.
I'm asking you, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? Both of you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? They were attacked. The sovereign nation was attacked. My question is, does it have a right to defend?
Iran has been fueling
Isn't that the
attacks
question
on
you've been
Israel
asking?
now for what, 40 years?
I've been having a moral quandary.
I felt a genuine moral quandary.
Iran does not have a right to defend itself.
They do, but they're not the ones.
So what is proportionate response?
They're not the ones.
What's a proportionate response?
Okay. I felt a genuine moral quandary. How can it be morally right to let a ruthless dictator illegally invade a sovereign, democratic European country, help himself to vast swathes of its land, murder enormous numbers of its people, and then you would want me to expect that the moral answer to all this is to let him have his way and win? How is that morally right? I felt a genuine moral quandary.
Monster.
Right.
This man is a monster.
Israel's never committed an atrocity on that scale.
On what scale?
On that scale.
Explain. What scale?
Killing 1,200 people.
They've killed 40,000.
Sorry, in one day, massacring
They've killed 40,000.
Israelis that could get their
Wait,
hands
hold
on.
Okay, I'm telling you, on the 23rd of September, Israel attacked Lebanon. How many people died? How many civilians died, according to the Lebanese health, the Ministry of Health?
I believe it's about 2,000 was the last recorded number I saw.
No, in one day. On the 23rd of September.
Including combatants, inclling many combatants.
On the 23rd, how many died? How many died? Why don't we have a year commemorating the 23rd of a year commemorating the 23rd of September? Since we're having a year commemorating the 7th of October, and about 600 people died, 650 people, civilians died on that day. That's quite close, isn't it?
We don't know they're
8,000.
civilians. They don't distinguish between
8,000
civilians
people
and
were
combatants.
We're not talking about attack. We're talking about dead. What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
Because the viewers are seeing the three of us together.
I see that
Mohammed.
there's tears in your eyes.
There are no tears in my eyes.
What's going on?
There's a slight sense of exasperation.
Sure, there should be.
Yes, a day that even Israel was involved in. Yes, because we're aware of the Hannibal Directive in which they, yes, killed their own people so they're not taken as hostages. And not to mention you had George Galloway on your show. Do you have selective amnesia because George Galloway told you about the Sabra and Shatila camp? Yes, where Israel killed 3 times more people than October 7th. Yes, and they were primarily women and children. This took place in 1982, where 35,000 were killed.
I felt a genuine moral quandary.
Yeah, moral quandary. I don't know. What's a proportional response? Does Israel have a right to defend itself?